Call to order the City Council meeting of the City of Bel Air Beach, Florida, Monday, January 7th, 2019, at 6 p.m. Will you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Marley,
Here.
Councilmember Todd Harper,
Here.
Councilmember John Petrowski,
Here.
Councilmember Wanda Schwer,
Here.
Councilmember Jody Shirley,
Here.
Vice Mayor Glenn Gunn,
Here.
Mayor Leslie Fornatero,
Here.
City Manager Lynn Reeves,
Here.
Finance Officer Melanie Cruzona,
Here.
Attorney Jackie Spota Bertram.
Here.
Thank you. The first item is the approval of the agenda, and I'd like to make one modification, switch items 2 and 3, switch the order of those due to some time constraints. I can't make a motion, but if someone else could do that, a motion to approve.
Motion to change.
Okay. And a motion to approve as changed?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Robert Hill from the Pinellas Suncoast Fire Rescue District is here to tell us about the scrap metal fundraiser. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our fundraiser, but first I wanted to get to why we are doing this. Pinellas Suncoast.
If you get to the mic.
Pinellas Suncoast Fire Rescue decided to start a honor guard about 2 years ago. It falls under the 501c3 area, and with that we have to raise our own funds. Everything that we do is on our own time. It's not through the department. The department does not fund anything that we do outside of fire rescue. So it's kind of my job to make sure that we're getting the money coming in. So I came up with an idea, and what it was a scrap metal fundraiser. So, ladies, you need to get all of your guys out into the garage and have them clean that out and get all that metal and bring it down to our fire department, because we're going to take that metal, put it into a big bin, and we're going to get money for it. I thought it was a kind of a neat way to get things rearranged for the new year and get things cleaned out, and we will take your scrap and use that money to do our traveling that we have to do, going to events, to funerals, to buy uniforms and those needs that we have. So if you would please get your scrap metal and bring it down to us. I've left a couple of flyers over here on the table, and if you have any questions, there is a phone number down here at the bottom. That phone number is mine, so please do not call it at 2 o'clock in the morning. I will call you back if you need somebody to come and pick something up because it's too big or you don't have a way to get it to us. We will come and pick it up for you. I'm going to try to do that on Friday the 18th. That whole day I'm going to take off and I'm going to do the rounds and try to pick some things up. But actually the 19th is the day that we have the yarder at the station, and you can come down and bring that to us. Okay? Any questions from anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Is the information on your website?
It is.
Too? Okay.
Yes. If you go to Pinellas Suncoast information, we're on Facebook. You can go to the Facebook page, and all of that information will be there. And you can call the office too. Kim knows all the information that you would need to know, and you can get that from her. Anyone else?
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Hope it's a success.
Sheriff's Department, thank you for switching out with me. Bye.
Thank you. Next item is the presentation by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Gentlemen?
for Sergeant Casey, who is the city SWAT sergeant. He's currently on 2 weeks of military. So the stats, when you guys get them, I'm not privy, this is the first time I've been here. Do they usually read down the stats as to each individual component, or is it?
Is there anything, so I say, unusual? Reading through, they look pretty
No,
constant.
and everything is as normal as it can be for the city, as far as your house checks, your traffic enforcement, getting out with any kind of suspicious vehicles or people, making sure that the parks are monitored and closed appropriately, and looking at the stats for December, which haven't come out yet in an actual platform. Everything's is status quo. There's nothing atrocious or anything that's off skew. It's anything normal that it has always been.
Any questions or comments from council? Pardon? Anyone out there have any questions for the sheriffs? Yes, sir.
That I'd like to say to them, I could build it in as part of, they'll stay around, and I'll build it in as part of the address to the council, or we can do it now, whatever is pleasing to the council.
I'm sorry.
I want to say something to the sheriff. I want the sheriff to hear it. I don't want them to leave. So we can do it now, or we can do it as part of the 3 minutes.
Go ahead and do it now, that's fine, as long as they're here.
Up here.
Yes.
You all know me. My name is Joseph Banzo, live at 102 7th Street. And a lot of times I think people know how to come to City Hall when there's a problem. They know how to come to companies when there's a problem, but they don't come when something happens good. But I'm here tonight to tell you about something that happened really good, really amazing. Back in mid-December, I was leaving my house for a 1-week trip up to New Jersey. And one of my neighbors reported a suspicious person around her facility, and it was the day before I left. I'd never heard about this kind of thing. It was something that doesn't happen in our neighborhood. So I utilized the services of the sheriff the first time ever to do a house check. And I said, well, at least we have some peace of mind. We know they'll keep an eye on the place. I get to New Jersey, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I get an alarm that there's motion detected inside my house. And I said, uh-oh, they're in. They got inside my house. It was somebody casing the place. Went back, I looked at the video from 1,000 miles away, and what I saw amazed me. I saw the sheriff's department, a sheriff's deputy, sitting outside my house, spending some time looking at the property, checking my cars, checking the front door, checking my garage, checking the back. And the motion that was detected was the sheriff's deputy shining his light inside my back door. That's what caused it to trip. It wasn't a 2-minute thing. He probably spent 5 or maybe closer to 10 minutes there. I felt so comfortable and I felt so blessed that we have this sheriff's department doing this work for us. So I want to publicly thank them, let them know how much I appreciated it, and just know that they'll always have my support.
Thank you. I wanted to make one comment on the statistics. Motor vehicle thefts have gone down from 3 last year in November to 0 this year. Are people really following the rules and saying don't leave the keys in your car? Is that?
I think due to the amount of directed patrols that we do and get out into neighborhoods and check the cars and make sure that they are locked up, and that coupled with the electronic billboards that we put up to remind people to lock their cars, you know, it deters a lot, but educating people is the biggest thing that we can do, because a lot of the time it's juveniles just walking through a neighborhood that are just trying car doors. And if the door's locked, they go to the next one. And if they find one that's unlocked, then they tend to stay in that area. But no, it's just us out there trying to do our job and make people aware of what they can do to make their lives easier.
So you think the directed patrols have had a positive?
Yes, sir. Yes.
We had some pushback on that earlier. It sounds like it's worked out well.
Yes. Anything else?
Any other comments?
No, just thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
You too. Hopefully a quiet one. Item number 4, citizens' comments. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 3-minute presentation on any subject that is not on the agenda. Do we have anyone? Okay, not sir. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name's Alan Durham. My wife Debbie and I live at 103 18th Street. And we wanted to come tonight to say thank you to Mayor Otero and to Lynn Reeves. We had the opportunity to speak with your mayor several months ago about the fact that 18th Street was the only street in Bel Air Beach that did not have a street light in the middle of it, or east to west. You had a conversation with Lynn Reeves. We had an opportunity to talk to him about a month later. He said he was already on it, and it was ordered, and it would be put in. And we're happy to say that last month it was put in. So we just wanted to say thank you very much. We do appreciate it. It is much needed and much lighter now and safer on the street. So thank you both.
Anyone else in the audience? Okay, seeing no one else, citizens' comments will be closed. The consent agenda, the approval of the December 3rd council meeting minutes, and the authorization to enter into agreement with Spectrum. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda approved. Number 7, public hearing, consideration of ordinance 18-11A. Jackie?
Yes, ordinance 18-11A, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bel Air Beach, Florida, correcting ordinance 18-11, more specifically section 94-210, subsections B and D, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion for ordinance 18-11A?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? How do we call the roll, please?
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Councilmember Harper,
Aye.
Councilmember Petrowski,
Aye.
Councilmember Schwer,
Aye.
Councilmember Shirley,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dunn,
Aye.
Mayor Otero.
Aye. Ordinance 18-11A passes unanimously. The regular agenda, number 8, authorization to suspend bid requirements for electrical modifications to residential property required for undergrounding of Bellevue Estates Island. Lynn?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a request, and you'll see the legal opinion behind the request to authorize us to suspend the bid requirements and utilize Yarlboro Electric, a service that we use regularly in the city, and typically they have been the low quoter. And this will alleviate some of the it'll help move along the undergrounding project of Bellevue Island Estates. And what we'll be doing with this is Yarlboro Electric will be contacting each property owner that is overhead and evaluating their panel and their meter can to see what modifications we need to make to that for the undergrounding process.
What's a rough estimate, though we don't have a bid yet, what do you roughly estimate this cost will run to?
Well, in the undergrounding budget, it's $300,000, but I think it's going to be more less than 200. I think this is, and it could be even lower. So it just depends on what people that have bought houses there, if they've upgraded their electric. A lot of times it's just a matter of moving a suppressor on the meter can and then putting a pigtail from the top down the can so we can connect on. So till the electric undergrounding is done. But we want to try to get a head start on this and get out in front of it before we get too far in the project.
You were talking initial survey. What's the timeline for the completion of the initial survey?
That I will work out with Yarlboro, and I can get that back to you. But if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
So what you're saying is that we're going to just utilize one company to do all the work? Right. So each individual person can't go outside and try to get a better price?
Well, they've been assessed for this as part of the project. So the money is in the project already, so I can't imagine they would go somewhere else. And if that does happen, we'll definitely look at that.
Residents were also given that opportunity beforehand.
Right.
There was a deadline that had to be completed. That's come and gone, so. this is-
So several did do that before the deadline. I think our deadline was like July 18th or something like that. It was in July, I know that. But there's 65 residences left. Originally, there were 70, so there's 65 left. And we've already developed a map marking them. And anyone that watches the video, I would like to say that you're seeing stakes put in your front yard. That is the right-of-way line. That's what it is. It's not where the transformer's going or anything like that. It's the right-of-way line. So we're trying to determine that all the way through, and I know they were working there today on, I believe it was illegal. So please don't take the stakes out.
Lynn, one question. In the past, we talked about just what the contractors were going to do, such as cut off the pole in a neat manner and cut off that pole going through the roof at a certain point, not to damage the stucco in the house, and maybe purchase a larger meter can so it would be a neat job versus one that would cause damage to the house. So maybe we should set some criteria for the contractor before they start this job.
Yeah, we can do that. I know the experience the city has had where our road has been very good.
Yeah, I've had some work done by them also, just to set up a set of rules.
Yeah, so we're going to develop a contract, which I've talked to Paul about, and I think Jackie knows about it also. We're going to develop a contract. They'll have to have a performance and payment bond also, so we're going to be covered. We want to make sure that the residents are covered in any issue.
It sounds right up the alley of the oversight.
Yeah, and I explained to Mr. Goldman and Mr. Zaganik on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I told them what we were suggesting. So they're aware of it, and I think they were going to pass that around. That we would be, well, how we'll do that initially, we'll probably send a postcard to each of the residents saying that someone will be contacting them. Because I know there's some that aren't here year-round, so we've got to make contact with them also.
They can always take that mast and pull the new wire through the ground and cut it down low next to, pull the wires out of it, cut it down low to the roof so you don't damage any of the roofing, and just cap it.
Yeah.
The easiest way to do it without any damage to the existing roof.
Right.
Do I have a motion to authorize the suspension of bid requirements?
So moved. Second.
We need a roll on this, Ken?
Councilmember Bean,
Aye.
Councilmember Hurd,
Aye.
Councilmember Petrosky,
Aye.
Councilmember Schwer,
Aye.
Councilmember Shirley,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gunn,
Aye.
Mayor Notaro.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. City Attorney, Jackie.
No items to report?
That's good. Lynn, City Manager.
Melanie's going to give the financial report. And we're going to try it with the computer this month. Hopefully it works.
All right, good evening. We are presenting the November financial report. That puts us 2 months into the budget year, which would have us at about 16.67%. And as you can see from the snapshot, as well as the front page. The revenues for the general fund are over that amount, and the bulk of that is from a handful of things, one being ad valorem, which is collected beginning November, and so that's at 32%. Other things that are pushing the revenues for the general fund higher than average would be the rental registrations, which again Pam sends out at the end of September, so those are due by October 31st. So they're collected at 87%, and the grants are at 112% because the FEMA money that we got back was higher than we anticipated. The expenditures for the general fund are right on target. They're about 16.31% for the general expenditures. We also transferred out $400,000 of the $690,000 to the capital projects fund to help cover the cost of some large expenditures that were going out of that account earlier this year, which was me.
Could you put the slide overhead that you're referencing?
Sure.
Probably would be helpful for reference.
So, let's see, turn that around. I'm just going to go to the snapshot because this page right here, which is your page 2 of your packet, is basically just the verbal explanation of this page right here, page 7. So I think I can turn this around. Let's see. So this is page 7, and this is the general fund revenues that I was talking about. The average is 16.67, and as you can see, ad valorem right here is at 32, licenses and permits, which is your rental registrations, at 87, and the grants is at 112. Those are the bulk of the items that are pushing the budget to actual higher than the 16.67. If you go down to the expenditures, you're going to see right here, this is at 16.31% for the general operating expenditures, and then the line below is for transfers out to the capital projects fund of $400,000, and that's going to push the total expenditures to 27%. That $400,000 transfer, usually don't do those until the end of the year, but we sent a check to Duke Energy for $976,000. So we needed more money in the operating account of the capital projects fund. If you go up here to the marina fund, its revenues are right on target, and the expenditures, as usual, are a little bit lower at 5.24%, and that is due to the capital, which again, we're accumulating in that fund, and so that's rolling over each year.
Melanie, why are the operating expenses for the marina fund so much higher than expected at this point?
The operating expenses, I have to go back and let's see if I can tell you exactly.
28%.
Right. Let's see. Insurance.
Okay.
The insurance policy was paid in November, and that's paid in full. So obviously that's going to phase out through the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Okay. And again, depreciation, contributions to the general fund, those always end up being done at the end of the year, so those are always going to stay low. When we get to the capital projects fund, that's where it gets fun. The revenues are at 98.33%. And as you can see, the grants right there, $976,000, which is even higher than what was budgeted, is because that's for the budget from the prior year. We spent the money in the prior year, and since it's a reimbursement grant, we didn't get that money until this year. And that's why we had to transfer the money from the general fund to that account to to fund that expenditure. And you'll also see that down in the expenditures where you see $1.62 million. That has to do also with the $1 million for the undergrounding. And then we've also got, let me tell you the exact breakdown. The debt service is at 25%, and that's because that's paid quarterly. But the capital projects fund, so far, we've got $610,000 for undergrounding as well. That's what makes up the 1.6, because that's funds that went to Duke Energy as well. So all of these are pretty much timing issues. Again, when you look at your capital projects fund, that is an accumulation account. Everything that we budget each year, if it's not done, it's going to roll. And so that's why you're seeing high numbers this year, because the amounts that we budgeted last year are now being expended and being received in this current fiscal year. So do we have any questions?
There was a package that was left at our seats on page 6. It had some handwritten notes. Under the $4,000 accumulated for parkboard and landscaping, there was a handwritten note of
85.5? Yes, because those right now are accumulation accounts that we're encumbering. The two items below that are open POs, and those POs were expended in December, so that when we see the next December's financial statement, this amount that we're holding as encumbered is going to be reduced by those two items.
So that 85.5 is just a subtotal.
Yes.
And then there's, and then the asterisks on the next two are because they're open POs. Okay.
That's correct.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Ellen.
Thank you.
Okay, semi-good news, First Street and Harbor are done paving. They're going to come out and do the speed table painting on Wednesday. And if everything goes right, we'll open that street back up on Thursday. So that project will be complete. The two check valves were put in, new pipe into the park there. It's called South Park. All of that has been done, and the road paving has been done as of 4 o'clock this afternoon. It was all finished. So, seawall on Belle Isle started. They're moving down the wall. So that project is ongoing. They've got 90 days to finish it. We've met. Just to give you an update on the undergrounding and what's going on with that. Mark and I met with, the consultant Mark Porter and I met with Spectrum. We've sent those things out. He has got some numbers back, and we will be giving you, we may need to have a special meeting. And if we get everything back, I may try to do it before the work session next week. Short meeting, mainly to authorize Mark to contract. The boring contractor is about 90,000+ lower than what budgeted. So that's a good thing for the residents. And Spectrum, which you approved tonight, was about $6,000 less than what they initially said. And they're going to do some of the conduit to the homes in that area. So the meetings we've had with them have been very good. I did have a meeting with the citizens group last week. 2 of the 3 were here, and we gave them an update on all this, but I want to make sure the council knows what's going on also. The work session next week, the agenda I think you have tonight, it's about the strategic plan and the street lighting. And I had a question from the reserves that are required, which was 20%, and our current reserves requirement is $531,350 based on our budget. It's 20% of that budget, which was about 2.6 million. And I will be on vacation the last 2 weeks of January, and Patty Gentry will be in charge. And you can still reach me by email or phone. Sort of. No, I'll get back to you. The code enforcement report is pretty lean this month, but Laura went to code enforcement training for a week, and ironically today she got her results back. She scored 90 on the test, which I thought was very good for us. So kudos to her, and this is just a report of the instances or the things that have come up during the month. We have sent letters out to a few people about sheds. They are working on that. And we've had a few calls about the brochure that we sent out. And we'll work through them as we need to. Any questions for me?
Comments on the brochure as in content or questions about the changes in?
Actually, most of them that I've received have been very positive about the fact that the city never did this before. I had one resident tell me he's lived here 40 years and never got anything about code enforcement. So I thought that was kind of nice.
I've heard good comments about it as well.
You know, there's some concerns with some of the things that are in the changes, but we'll work through them. There is one thing code enforcement wise, and I've got a meeting with him tomorrow. The house on Harrison went past his 18 months, and he was notified. Him and his contractor are coming in to visit with me tomorrow, because we can extend him 6 months, but right now that only gives him about 5 months to finish the house. And we'll see where that goes, since the owner's in town. We need to move that along. And then we've got another house on 9th Street that's kind of about 18 months time frame that we've given them a courtesy notice. You know, we have a code that's 18 months. You need to move along. So those two properties are highlighted right now, I guess.
So what technically happens after 18 months?
Well, after 18 months, the code says 18 months, the city manager has the authority to give them a 6-month extension. After 24 months, they then go to the code special master and master can, you know, they can fine them until they're finished. And that has happened here, I can tell you that for sure. You know, we'll just see where it goes. But what I'm going to ask the gentleman, if it's going to be asking for the extension, I want a project timeline for each item. So I can say, okay, you told me you were going to finish this by this day. So I expect to see that finished, because we can't just keep hanging around, especially with the one house. So we just want to get people to be compliant and proactive. And that's all we're trying to do with the codes, just try to get compliance. We're not here to be the police officers of the world or anything else. We're just trying to get compliance with the codes.
I have a question. There was the one incident that we talked about, I think it was last month, where the residents had been fined and were asking for a reduction in the fine. What's happened with that one?
I met with him and his wife. He basically told me he was going to come see me later, but he never came back. He was not happy. We have sent him a second invoice to update him, because that was through November 4th. So all that happens in this case, until he either comes back with something else, or the fine, or the interest on the fine just keeps growing, which to me is, I think you want to come back and settle it, but he was not happy with our offer. So we'll see where it goes eventually.
Thank you.
Next item, city clerk. Nothing? Okay. Any unfinished business?
Lynn, question for you. When this undergrounding project started a number of years ago, 5 or more, we talked about the laying, the milling, and the curb replacements and the drains on Bellevue Island. Do we have a timeline when that'll get started, possibly?
Well,
I know.
don't quote me for positive, but if I recollect right, we increased not this year, the next year, I believe it is, we increased the paving and stuff, thinking that after the project's done, we would come back and redo that, adjust the curves. There isn't, as far as the stormwater master plan, there's really not anything there that's major, that causes major flooding, except out on Bay Shore on 22nd, there's a little bit of an issue. But for the most part, other than the heavy downpour we got that one day, 3 inches in a couple hours, that hasn't been a problem there. So most of the flooding occurs at the south end of town, 12th, 13th, 18th. That's Belle Isle, which I think we've corrected that.
Right, well, it's mainly the debris that gets in those drains that causes problems. On this last large downpour we had on Louisa, the water was over the crown of the road and back on the driveways about 4 feet. The water just couldn't go anywhere. And I believe that's part of debris in the pipe, or maybe we need to raise that pipe. I know it's between the homes, but.
Yeah, it could have, the last rain, there was some high tide at that time, so that could be part of it. And as we go down through the city, like this year, 3rd through 5th, are the streets we're working on. We're putting these check valves in, and thus far, they seem to be working to stop that backflow. And, they're not going to, if you get a 3-inch downpour, an hour or two, there's nowhere for it to go if it's high tide. But we may look at changing some of those boxes to put the grates in like we're doing as we change them, because that stops the debris from going in there. So that could be a future project.
When you get back in town, do you think we could, you and I, or in the air conditioning people, could get together and talk about the air conditioning system here at City Hall?
Yeah, that's fine.
Put that on the list. And the other thing I have is, would it be possible we have time at the work session to talk about Bayside Park and clear up some of the items on that of what we're going to possibly do with it, if we can do it.
I mean, other than what we decided last month?
Just put some ideas together.
Okay.
That makes
General
sense.
business.
General.
All right. City council comments. John, start on there.
Well, hopefully everybody had a great holiday. And a couple of things, and I don't know if this might be directed to the sheriffs or something, but during the Outback Bowl, my wife was over near Publix, and it took her 47 minutes to get home. And I don't know any way that the sheriff's department can keep traffic moving during these holidays, because now spring break's coming, and we're going to have the same problem on those holiday weekends. So I don't know if there's officers that keep cars moving at the corners, or we just have to put up with it. And one other thing, and I brought this up previous years, about decorations on Gulf Boulevard. And I'd like possibly if you can look into it, the price of getting decorative lighting instead of the flags, just to see the difference in cost.
Well, we're gonna have to do something because the contract's over this year. It was a 3-year contract and this is the last year of it. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not happy with what we got. So I think we need to look at other options. So we're gonna do that.
That's all I have.
Judy?
I don't really have much to add, just I know when you mentioned the traffic being an issue, I know we talked about not only giving us the ability to time the lights, or put some input into timing the lights when we have the traffic on, so really that's something.
Talk to them again.
Now, we can go back to just tapping into everything.
Todd, what do you have?
Yeah, back quite a bit. So first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to January. I wanted to say congratulations to all of the candidates that have qualified for the elections coming up in March. Looking forward to a healthy conversation. I would ask, in talking with a lot of the residents involved in the qualification process, I was amazed at the number of residents that were not registered to vote. So I would encourage anybody that's not registered to vote to at least be registered so you can exercise that privilege. So, then really good feedback on the code enforcement brochure. I have several feedback and comments about just the idea of what it is and what it represents, and the idea of keeping that regular communication with the residents in place. It's really good. The other question I really had, we did the survey assessment on the easements, and then I guess the question would be, does the next step go to the Parks Board for what the next step should be as far as maintaining it or decorating it or what would you recommend as the next process?
Well, I need to get the actual survey back, you know, the paper copies first, and then I'll take them to the park board to see what their thoughts are. And then I think we need to do a constant contact survey and try to get some feedback that way also.
I would think that that would probably be best maintained by the Parks Board as far as part of their purview. And then, John, to your comment, I went to Hammerheads, it took me 5 minutes to get there, it took me 57 minutes to get back. So I totally understand. From a communication perspective, I'm not a big sports person, so I didn't know the outlet bowl was going on. So the question is there any mechanism for notifying residents of big traffic or big activity items that just be aware that it's a high traffic weekend or there's something big happening? I'm just curious as to how do you get at least some heads up that something's happening that you should be kind of aware of? Because I left home to get something at the hardware store and didn't know it was going to take me an hour and a half to do the round trip. So I'm just curious. So just more of an informational question.
We can do it on the website, or just it has to be.
Yeah, just heads up, you know, that goal this weekend, heads up, spring break is here, heads up, whatever it might be.
You know,
It tends to be the right-hand turn to Clearwater Beach that is the issue.
Yeah, I have a meeting with Captain Liner. It's my quarterly on Wednesday night.
The sheriff's department has those mobile signs, electronic signs, those would be nice to have up. And excuse me for jumping in while we're talking about traffic. I've noticed that we have a lot of visitors in the area that don't know what to do on flashing yellow arrows. They'll stop and stare, and there's absolutely no traffic coming, and they'll just stop and wait for it to change. And there's a lot who don't know how to do a right turn on red. And that is holding up traffic and causing a lot of potentials.
That's it, thank you.
Mark?
Just to say Happy New Year to everybody, and see what happens in the coming year. Looking forward to the election and the start of the underground. That's it. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody, and I too am looking forward to the elections.
Undergrounding seems to be going well. We're revisiting the streetlight issue, and after the work session, we should have some updated news on that. Strategic planning seems to be going well. It's on track, and again, after this work session, maybe it's time to maybe put some word out to the residents and give them some feedback on what's been happening and where that's going.
And happy New Year to everyone. You know, we have our work session next Monday at 5:30. And if anyone wants any information to be in front of the council members, they need to get it to Patty by Wednesday, so that everyone has a chance to review it and study it and consider it before the work session. Okay? Any other comments?
I will tell you, you know, there is a faster way to get back to the beach. Go to Walsingham.
It was backed up too.
Yeah, that would be.
Well,
It was backed up all the way.
it's usually about 15 or 20 minutes faster, because I do it
Well, I
quite.
tried it. My wife, when she called, I thought maybe there was an accident, so I went, I said, I got my truck to go out, to go see what was going on. I couldn't even pull out of my street. So I just turned around and went back home and told her, when you get home, you get home.
That's why I use Waze that will tell me if there's been an accident.
Yeah, no, we vote.
Okay, that's all. We have a motion to adjourn?